Hello everyone, my name is Robel Mengesha, Communication Skills Instructor. This is Galila International Seminary College. Now this is the third session, oral communication. One thing you should know that when you talk about communication skills, another way we are talking about the four major skills: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Now, this is the speaking part, oral communication. Three elements in oral communication. One, content is very important. Content is the information that we want to convey. That's it. The second one is organization, the way we organize idea. And the last one, delivery, means of communication. So our focus even will be in these things: the content, the organization, the delivery. But before that, let's see the advantage and disadvantage of oral communication. What is the advantage of oral communication? There are many advantages. To mention few, it saves time. Let's say if we email, we don't know whether or not the email will reach to the person after a month or 2 months. But oral communication, it saves time. Immediate feedback. Yes, the response is very immediate. In the examples that I give you, for example, email, the feedback might take 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, even a year. But oral communication, there is immediate feedback and personal contact even. Yeah, when we use oral communication, there is a kind of personal contact. It's good for different situations, for different scenarios. We can use that. It's less expensive because it is oral. There will be a cooperative spirit. Writing doesn't give such chance, but oral communication gives a kind of cooperative spirit and useful for keeping secrets. Yes, nobody will read what we've written, so we can contact personally, we can make it secret. Persuasive, yes, because we can use non-verbal communication in order to convince our listeners, so it's also persuasive. And some others. Yes, less expensive, saves times, cooperative spirits, useful in secrets, and immediate feedback for personal contact is more effective, and it develops personal contact, which is essential and valuable for smooth working and useful in different situations. But as every means of communication has its own negative and disadvantage, oral presentation or oral communication has also its own disadvantage. Good. What are the disadvantages? No legality. It can't be used as a legal documents. Yeah. Limitation of oral communication is that it has no scope from legal point of view, as there is no proof or evidence. Yes, it can't be served as a legal document. No evidence. The other one is greater scope for errors because it's influenced by grammar, handwriting, spelling, language. So it's errors greater scope for errors. Yes, chance of misunderstanding due to verbal nature of exchange. Some message should only be transmitted through verbal way. So when we write it, there will be a kind of information gap. Easily forgotten because it's not written. Easily forgotten. Yes, cannot be remembered for a long time. That's the disadvantage of oral communication. Yes, not useful for long distance. If it's oral, there should be a kind of proximity between the speaker and the listener. Yes, the other one is oral messages are not useful for long distance. All right, good. When we say oral communication, what things comes to your mind? Meetings, conference calls, telephone calls, presentation, video, audio, recordings, even giving the directions. Go this way, turn left, turn right, opposite, back, kinds of communication is oral. Yes. All right, good. So oral communication can be defined as expressing ideas, information, as well as influencing others through the spoken word. That makes it oral. It can also include nonverbal communication. When we say oral communication, it doesn't mean that purely word of mouth. There is also nonverbal communication. And it should be supported by the nonverbal communication. Yes, oral communication is very important for careers, whether you use it in formal conversation or business presentation. Oral presentation communication is very important. Yes. All right. Good. What are the steps? Here we should see that steps of oral presentation. Oral presentation. The first thing we should do is determine the general purpose of our presentation. Whenever we are asked to give a presentation, the first thing we should do is determine the purpose. What is the purpose of oral presentation? 3. Inform, persuade, and entertain. Actually, this is the purpose of any skill. Let's say the purpose of writing a skill is to inform, to persuade, to entertain. The purpose of reading a skill is to inform, to persuade, to entertain. The same is true. The purpose of oral presentation is one of these 3 purposes: to inform, to persuade, and to entertain. So we determine this. What is my aim? Is that to make people relax? To make them enjoy? Is that to convince them? Is that just to give them a kind of factual information? After that, the second step will be analyzing the audience. Who are my audiences? Relate your message to your audiences. Who are my audiences? Their knowledge, their beliefs, their interests. We have to know that. Are they educated? Are they laymen? Are they technical workers? Are they managers? So the second thing we should do is know the audience. Then consider the size, the setting, things like that. Yeah, analyze the audience. And the third point is Specific your purpose. Narrow your purpose, your topic. Let's say, for example, your general purpose is to inform your audience. Now you have to narrow it. How do I make that? My specific purpose might be providing information about the current issues affecting Georgia agriculture, Ethiopia's agriculture. So we make it specific. Then should be explicitly stated in the introduction part. So make your purpose specific, then research the topic. Don't present a topic that you didn't research. Gather information, facts, figures, testimonies, examples. That is the fourth thing we should do. Yeah. Why? To establish credibility, acceptance. Yes. Good. And the fifth one is organizing and outlining. How do we organize? We should have an introduction. Introduction must be very attractive, attention getter, because as we already said, the first impression is the last. So the introduction part should be attention getter. Good. And then main points, the introduction, 1 paragraph, then the body, 2 to 5 main points in 5 paragraphs, 2 to 5 paragraphs, and it should have a conclusion. Conclusion, summary of the pointers, a strong concluding statements. That's it. So after we organize it, what we should do, organizational pattern, how should we organize? We can use chronological method, from past to present, from present to past, chronological order, spatial, topical, cause and effect, problem solution. We put the problem, then the solution. Yes, or just we put the cause, then the effect. We can follow any kinds of patterns, but we should organize it in such a way. And connectiveness, transitions. Yeah, we should interconnect every paragraphs, every sentence, every ideas. Yes, we should not put it in a scattered kinds of or separated kinds of sentences. That's it. So the fifth point is organization. How do you organize? Introduction, body, conclusion. Then how do we organize ideas? One of these ways. All right. The sixth point, visual aids. Whenever we present something or we have oral presentation, we should use visual aids. Visual aids should be added to the presentation. Visible to audience, because audience can easily make a kind of mental pictures, mental prints. Talk to audience. Explain visual aids to audience. If I bring a picture here, I have to make it clear why I brought it here. It can be a PowerPoint like what I am using now. It can be graph. It can be chart. It can be DVD, anything, even people. Real life example. Yes, so we have to visualize it. Good. Step 7 is practice. Practice, 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 because practice makes perfect, as you know. What should we practice? We practice our delivery methods. Delivery methods. Is it manuscripts? Is it memorization? Is it extemporaneous? Is it impromptu? So one can read word for word as an oral presentation. It's possible from manuscripts. One can memorize everything that he's going to present. Is it possible? That's also, we call it oral communication. One can suddenly present, sometimes without prior preparation. Let's say, for example, if you are asked to explain ourselves, my name, where I come from, where I live, about my educational style, without prior study, and one can just have a kind of outlines. So the outlines will help us, guide us what we talk about. So any of this method, manuscript, memorization, extemporaneous, impromptu, all are acceptable. So the presenter is reading the note doesn't mean that he is not presenting orally. He can read word by word, but we can call it a presentation. Yes. So the practice may include visual aid, time of our presentation. That's it. So then the delivery part, we should focus on our voices, our volume, the pitch, pause, articulation, pronunciation. These things should be taken into consideration. We have to vary our volumes, our voice. Sometimes high, sometimes low, sometimes different pitch, pause. Sometimes we deliberately pause and stop, keep silent. That is the way we deliver. Yes. And the other good point is 60% of meaning is from non-verbal clues. Assume 60% of meaning from non-verbal clues. So gesture, eye contact, posture, facial expression, these all things should be taken into consideration. We should have a kind of eye contact with our audiences, looking always up, always down, left, right. It makes a kind of barrier. Good. Physical appearance, our dressing, our styles, everything. Whenever we have a presentation, we should care of our dressings, our appearances. Environment, the size of the room or the hall, the chairs, a number of people that attend our presentation. So these things should be considered. Being late and rush through presentation, we shouldn't come late, we shouldn't rush. So these things should be seen under delivery style. The ninth and the last is assessing. We have to assess. What do we assess? Ask for feedback. Yes. How is it? How was my presentation? Yes. Because to know our strengths, our weakness for our future presentation. All right? So if you take these things, bring into your mind, I hope you will be a very good oral presenter. All right. The last skill that we're going to cover in this course is written communication. One of the fourth major communication skill, written communication. One of the best methods to communicate is writing. Writing is not only one of the best, it's also the oldest method, forms of communication. Even now in the age of technology, still communication is very important. Yes, I mean, writing is very important. Writing skills is important for our career requirements. Yes, for everything, our professional, personal, social life, writing is mandatory. Yes, writing is the ability to write doesn't require a unique talent or an outstanding mental ability. So everyone has the basic skill necessary to write well, can communicate in writing, a basic understanding of writing, and a commitment to writing well in all situations is needed as a professional. So anyone who can able to write can do it. It doesn't require a kind of unique talent. Yes, but when we start to write, we should ask this question: how do I begin? Beginning? What's my purpose? How do I make my point clear? How do I create a logical flow? How do I say what I mean? How do I avoid grammatical error? How can I make my message brief? And how can I create a visual effect? Taking these things into our consideration will make our writing acceptable. Yes. So writing has a process. The first process is planning. Planning is the first thing of everything, as you know. We should do the same here, planning. Then writing, then quality control. We shouldn't send or give as soon as we write. We have to control the quality. Yes. Planning. What does planning mean in writing? Keep objectives in mind and research the topic. What's my objective of my writing? Think about the audience. Who are my audience? Are they literates or illiterates? Yes. Can they read my technical language? Think about the audience. Outlining helps organize. So outline, under planning. These things are included. The next part is writing. So we have already finished this outline, so we follow the outline. We can use our handbook. Yes, inspiration is acceptable but must be carefully reviewed. Use the interview approach to supplement the outline. Interview approach means we ask first, then we answer. It's good to communicate with our readers easily. Yeah, like an interview. What? Then we answer. Who? We answer. We can use such kinds of technique. It's an approach. It's a technique while writing. So who, what, when, why, where, how. If you ask and answer this question, we can communicate with our readers without any big barriers, difficulties. Yes, these are very important points while we write. Completeness. All information needed should be provided. Complete. Correctness. Correct. Relevant and precious information. Precise information. Credibility. That means support your argument. Do my reader believe what I write? We have to make that credible, acceptable. Then clarity should not be vague. The reader should not worry what we want to say on my writings. It should not be confusing, ambiguous. That's clarity. The other one is conciseness, to the point, targetful, and consideration. Anticipate the reader's reaction. We have to consider what will be the reaction of the readers. Yes. The other one is vitality. That means use of active voice rather than passive. We should use active voice. Yes. So, how many things are they? Completeness, very important. Correctness, credibility, clarity, conciseness, consideration, and vitality. These are very important things to have a good writing. When we come to a business document, a good business document should always answer the following question. What is the document about? Why has it come to be? Who wrote it? How is it organized? What is it trying to accomplish? What supports the conclusion? What problems or opportunities that it addresses? So, when we write, these things should bring to our minds. Yes, and take care of spelling and grammars, because writings are highly influenced by grammars and spellings. It's important in all business communication to use proper grammar and correct spelling. Otherwise, our reader miss what we want to convey. What you write and how you write could reflect a positive or negative image. What's my purpose? To reflect the negative image or the positive? We have to. Sloppy or poorly written communication could be perceived as lack of caring. We shouldn't write it carelessly. So, whatever we write, whether it is a formal letter, informal letter, whether it is memo, reports, anything that we write, we have to take care of the spelling and grammar. We have to checking this. We shouldn't send. Good. All right. So to be free from that, what I already said, spelling and proofreading is very important. Proofreading before we send it. We can use a spell and grammar check if available, thanks to the technology. Our computer can do that, so we have to use this chance. Make sure that to have subject, verb, tense agreement. We should take care of our rules, grammar rules. Yes. If we miss the subject, we miss the doer. If we miss the verb, we miss the action. If we miss the tense agreement, we confuse the readers. So we have to proofread this. The other one is ensure proper word usage. For example, to say affect, if you say effect, it's completely different. Instead of saying among, if you say between, now it shows a kind of, brings a kind of information gap. Among is for more than two individuals. Between is between two individuals. So it makes a difference. Can and may. Can is ability, may is probability. So instead of can, if you use may, let's say, that means we're not sure for what we are writing. Yeah, so it matters. There and there. There is a place. There is a possession. So mostly people confuse this. To write T-H-E-I-R, they write T-H-E-R-E. So that makes a big difference. Shall and will, yes. Than and then. So not only this, these are just simple examples, but before we send what we have written, we have to proofread first. We have to check the grammar, the spelling, and the language use. All right. Another important point is types of writing. What do we write? It can be email, letters, and memos, agendas, reports, promotional material, academic documents, research. Yeah, these things, we call it types of writing, as we have seen in written communication. So let's see some of them. Email first. Email is a fast, convenient, and easy way. Email is now the dominant method of communicating in business. So what things should be considered when we use emails, especially in office context, in organizations? We use email too much. All right. We will see what things should be considered when we write email. But before that, another written way is letter and memos. Letters and memos are the basic vehicle of business communication. The letters might be formal letters or informal letters, and memos, letter is it can be internal communication, but usually the formal letter is external communication way. Memos are internal way of communication, written communication. So they should be very brief and make a single point. Whether memo or letter should not be more than 2 pages. Letters are for external, okay, memos for internal communication, as I already said. What things should be included when we write letters and memos? Headings, or letterhead is very important. Date, inside address, that means to whom we write. Salutation, dear, sir, dear madam, dear sir. Subject line, the issue that should be discussed. Subject, that's very important. Then body counts, closing and signature, and enclosures or CC, they call it carbon copy, courtesy copy. Yeah, so what things should be included in letters and memos? Don't forget this one, you should put it in your mind. Heading, date, address, salutation, subject, body. Closing and CC is very important. So whenever you write memo or letters, these things you should remember. All right, good. Good. All business memos should include to, that means to whom the memo is directed, from, who wrote the memo, date, and subject. So without these things, the memo or the letter, the memos especially, should not be considered complete. To, from, date, subject, it should not be forgotten. Yes. There are different types of letters and memos: letter of request, sales letters, response letters, cover letters, letters of collection, letters to vendor and suppliers, memos that deal with employee issues, memos that makes announcement, memos for policy and procedures. So even if we call it memo, there are different types of memo. 8, 9 types of memo. Good. So what is very important, you should put in your mind, elements of memos should be put in your mind. And these things are very important. All right, so have you hit your targets? In written communication, most confusion and frustration are caused by failing to be specific. So whatever you write, whether email, memo, or any kinds of written document, make it clear, brief, and concise. That is the last advice of me. All right, everyone, this is the end of the sessions. Thank you for listening attentively. Have a nice time. See you in another lesson.